The Nike Invincible is dead. It lasted 3 generations from January 2021 up to August 2025, with the Invincible 3 lasting an impressive 2.5 years on the market before Nike decided to finally kill it in August 2025. I absolutely loved the Invincible 1 and 2, which were practically the same shoe. When life was much simpler and my shoe rotation was just turning a shoe around, the Nike Invincible 1 was my only running shoe. I ran my first marathon in 2023 in these Volt Yellow Invincibles, and for a long while my 5k PB was also set in a pair. But then came the Invincible 3 and everything changed for me. The Invincible 3 are the first and only pair of running shoes to date that I have ever returned. Despite an update that I think made them look a lot better than the 1s and 2s, for me they were a terrible shoe. Gone was the secure fit. Rather than my foot feeling locked in, my arch bulged over the side, and the finishing of them was the worst I'd ever seen on a pair of running shoes, with stray fabric everywhere. They were hotspot city for me, both on the top of my foot and around the arch. Heel slippage was another major flaw with the design, so after 50k in them, they showed no signs of breaking in, and it was over. My first review of any kind on this channel was the Invincible 3. Putting out a pretty negative review I felt was quite risky, but I wanted to be really honest about my thoughts, and that review went on to do really quite well. So while in name the Nike Invincible might be dead, it's actually just fallen victim to Nike's realignment of its running shoe range, or as they call them, franchises, namely the Pegasus, the Vomero, and the Structure. So each of those franchises has 3 shoes, which are the Icon, a Plus, and a Premium. The Invincible, as we did know it, now sits in the Vomero line, which is Nike's maximal cushioning line, and it's been rebadged as the Vomero Plus. This is going to be my first impressions of the shoe, so get liked and subscribed for a full review once I've had the chance to put a decent number of kilometers through it when I'm back from my ankle ligament injury, which should hopefully be in the next week or so. So one immediate plus of the Vomero Plus is the price. Now, I'm not saying that £155, $180 or 170 euros is cheap, far from it, but in the UK, that is a £20 reduction on the launch price of the Invincible 3 back in 2023. For comparison, the Plus are £20 more than the Icon Vomero 18, which was released earlier this year. I got the Vomero Plus in what Nike describes as bright mango, Volt, barely Volt, and metallic dark grey, which, to be honest, I couldn't decide if they looked awful, but other colourways were a bit bland for me, but in the flesh, I actually really like it. So what makes these Plus compared to the Icon Vomero 18 is the full ZoomX midsole rather than a ZoomX and React X sandwich on the Vomero 18. ZoomX, if you don't know, is Nike's premium PEBA-based foam that you'll find in its highest end running shoes like the Vaporfly, the Alphafly, and the trail-based Ultrafly. You'll also find it in the Pegasus Plus, albeit a thinner layer, which you can see here, and also in the Pegasus Premium. Nike also use it combined with other foams, as I've mentioned before, such as React X in the Vomero 18s and a CR02 carrier foam in the Zoomfly 6. Nike uses different formulations of the foam in different shoes depending on the needs of the shoe. The Vomero 18 used a slightly heavier and denser version of the foam to tune it more as a durable daily trainer, whereas the lighter variant favours more speed and response on the likes of the Alphafly and the Vaporfly. I think the same is true here of the Vomero Plus ZoomX like it was for the Vomero 18. They have a massive 45mm heel stack height, which is a 5mm increase on the Invincible 3, and a 35mm toe stack height, which is a 4mm increase on the Invincible 3, resulting in a 10mm drop, which is the same as on the Vomero 18. The Invincible had a 9mm drop, so these have got a 1mm increase in the drop. The upper is made from an engineered dual layered mesh that Nike seem to be liking at the moment. Both my Ultraflies and Zoomflies both have a dual layered mesh. The sole is quite reminiscent of the Invincible 3 with a waffle-like design with a lot of rubber coverage with just a few cutouts. Weight-wise, they weigh in at 379 grams in my UK 13. That compares to 403 grams for the Invincible 3 and 395 grams of the Invincible 2, so a decent weight saving on the previous generations of Invincible. Just for context, because I'm aware I've got big feet, I believe a UK 9 weighs in at 292 grams according to Nike.com. Inside, the shoe feels a lot more reminiscent of the Invincible 1 and 2 than the 3. The heel collar has returned to a plush form factor right to the top of the shoe rather than the more minimal design of the Invincible 3, and the heel foam feels a bit softer than on the Invincible 1 and 2. The tongue has retained the traditional style of the Invincible 3 rather than the gusseted tongue design that was present on the Invincible 1 and 2, which personally I think is a bit of a shame, as so it isn't directly attached to the uppers on the sides. The other downside of this for me is that the finishing quality of the tongue is lacking a bit again, with quite rough finishing around the edges of the tongue and also at the bottom where it connects to the vamp. It doesn't feel quite as bad as how it was on the Invincible 3, which for me resulted in hot spots on the top of my foot, so I'll have to wait and see how these fare after a few kilometers. But the tongue overall does feel plusher and softer than on all of the previous iterations of Invincibles. On the foot, I wouldn't say these fit true to size. I would say for me they fit maybe large to size, so I'm probably going to return these UK 13s for a UK 12. That aside, they do feel familiar in a good way. I am quite flat-footed, and in the Invincible 3, my arch, as I'd mentioned before, bulged over the side. That is not the case here. Aside from feeling a little bit large, my foot feels secure in the shoe with decent width in the midfoot. There doesn't appear to be anywhere near the heel slippage issues of the Invincible 3. There is a bit, but no more than I would really expect and that I've experienced on the Invincible 1 and 2, and I think that will be lessened still when I do swap these for a UK 12. And that familiar thick wedge of ZoomX foam feeling is still there. If you have past experience in Invincibles, you'll know what I mean. I can definitely feel that extra stack height in the Vomero Plus, but they certainly don't feel too mushy. They do feel, dare I say, a little bit more nimble than the Invincible 2s that are in my current rotation. So the next thing for me is going to get these swapped out for a smaller size and then get some kilometers in them when I return to running. So get subscribed for the full review. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments that I'll try and address in my full review, and I'll see you next time.